Hi folks, the Filipino here, and I often hear from people who are interested in coming to the Philippines for the first time, but they're bothered by the thought of coming alone. They're tempted to buy a ticket, but they say things like, I don't know anyone there. I don't know what to expect. I don't even know where to go. Now, some of you guys are more adventurous and you don't mind stepping off a plane in a new country and just finding your way. But some people want to have everything figured out, right down to the bathroom schedule. But no matter which type of person you are, if you watch just half my videos, you already know more about the Philippines than Filipinos themselves. But still, you might be wondering how to start your adventure, and you want to know some of the strategies to ensure that your vacation doesn't go off the rails. Well, this video will give you a foolproof way to turn your Philippines experience into a success without even trying. Now, many of you guys that are listening right now have either been here before or might even live here. And you're going to be thinking, yeah, I know all this stuff backwards and forwards. But I'm counting on you folks, my faithful viewers, to help me out. You're the pros, the veterans, the mentors, and all your experience can really benefit the thousands of people who've been looking at the Philippines from the safety of their lounge chairs, but who've been afraid to actually dip their toes in the water. You guys are gonna have your own opinions and your own playbook. So please comment on anything you think is important for the new folks to know. And get ready for a lot of questions from guys who were just like you years ago. Okay, the first thing that might cross your mind is how the local people will react to you. Will we like you? Or see you as some invader that's only there to plunder our country and our women? Well, let's get that out of the way right now. Almost everyone knows the reputation of the warm and welcoming Filipinos, so expect to get a lot of smiles, which is the cultural norm here. But is it just a fake facade, or do we actually like you? So here's the honest truth. Most people will like you, and they'll be very interested in where you came from, what you do for a living, how long you'll be staying, and why you're here. They'll just walk right up to you and start talking, which makes it pretty easy to make friends. There are, however, people who won't think twice about taking advantage of you if they can, at least as far as your money goes. It's not like you're gonna get jumped or attacked. That rarely happens here. But you'll get overcharged for things, and taxes will take the long way home. Nothing much to worry about. Just be aware of it. But what you might be more concerned about is, will the women like you, if that's one of the reasons you're coming to the Philippines? In the vast majority of cases, the women will treat you just like everyone else does. Most of us will like you just fine, but some of us will try to take advantage of you. I've made plenty of videos on how to tell the difference, so make sure you study up on the subject before you get here. But as I've always said, your chances of meeting a compatible mate are really high, especially as you spend more time here. Which brings us to the question of when you start looking for a mate. You've probably heard me say that it's a good idea to wait till you get here so you can start looking in person, and you'll really be able to evaluate the women you're interested in. But most of you don't want to wait because you don't like the idea of not knowing anyone here, so you jump online and start chatting. You're anxious to start looking for Miss Right, which means you'll also have a built-in tour guide, someone that can navigate the culture for you when you arrive. And although you can easily move around the country on your own, I can blame you for wanting to have some connection here. But there's a couple things you want to consider. If you go online, don't do it too soon. If you use a dating site more than a few months before getting here, you're going to be talking to way too many women who are all going to be trying to lock you down. And you'll either have to break a lot of hearts or spend every available second interviewing the same women you were chatting with. Even if you were able to narrow it down to just one woman as a guide and potential love interest, choosing someone in advance has its drawbacks. Be prepared to spend a lot of time meeting her family, which she'll probably want you to do. And have your vacation laser focused on your relationship with that one woman. That might turn out great, but you're not going to have the same freedom to roam around the country and check out all your other options. But the choice is yours, and either approach has its advantages. The next thing you folks always ask is where you should go first. If you're traveling alone and not already being dragged to a woman's hometown, you have more choices. Although 60% of foreigners end up settling in the Metro Manila area because of its access to Western amenities and conveniences, I'd suggest a different starting point. If you can get a flight that lands in Cebu City, I'd go that route, and here's why. Manila is the travel hub for the northern part of the country, but Cebu gives you access to the central and southern parts of the Philippines and has plenty to offer as far as things to do. If city life isn't the only thing you want to experience, I strongly suggest you see what the rest of the Philippines has to offer. And Cebu is a good central hub for exploring the rest of the country, like the great diving spots and the gorgeous beaches of the Visayas. If you start your adventure in Cebu, you'll not only experience the big city, but you'll have direct flights to just about any other place you want to visit, without all the hassle of navigating Manila. And as far as what places to visit, you're pretty much safe wherever you go, except for the extreme southwest part of Mindanao. Just use your common sense and don't go wandering down dark alleys at night. Although to be perfectly honest, you'd probably still be safe unless you're in the slums of Manila. So what about paying for stuff? Well, I know it's not very convenient, but a lot of little vendors and food places don't take credit cards. So no matter where you are, you should always carry some cash. Restaurants and hotels and mall stores will take your cards, but you're still gonna need cash for taxis and small purchases. So here's what our money looks like. It's really colorful. There are 6 different denominations ranging from the 20 peso bill, which is about 40 cents US, to the 50 peso note worth $1 American, to the 100 peso bill worth $2, to the green 200 bill, which you don't see much any of these green ones anyway, but I don't know why, but you could spend a whole year here and not even see a single one. Then we have the 500, which is $10, and then the 1,000 peso bill worth $20 US. There are also a lot of confusing little coins of various sizes, but they all have the number of pesos on them, so it's easy to figure out. As far as bringing your own currency, bring as much as you want, up to 10,000 US dollars. Actually, just to be safe, just bring 9,999. But make sure that the bills are unfolded, uncreased, and not torn. You can exchange currency in a lot of places here, but they'll only take bills that are near perfect. I have no clue why. To get more money, just use an ATM. They're everywhere. And if you have a popular card like a Visa or a MasterCard, you won't have any trouble getting your hands on as much money as you need. For communications, I'd make sure your service provider lets you use international roaming so you don't have to get a local SIM card for your phone. There's a new law here about using SIM cards, and until they straighten it out, it's kind of a messy process. And now to address the question I get all the time about language. Many guys ask me if they should learn some Tagalog before they come, in case they find themselves needing to communicate with someone that doesn't speak English. Well, as much as we appreciate it when you guys attempt to speak our language, and you always sound so cute when you try, we actually have a better chance of understanding you if you just speak English. It's great if you learn a couple basic words and phrases like salamat, which means thank you, or magandang umaga, good morning. And we appreciate it when you take the time and effort to learn a few things in advance. But I really wouldn't spend a lot of time learning a new language that you probably won't use. If you ultimately move here, you'll have plenty of time to learn that local dialect, which might not even be Tagalog. So now you're ready to move about the country. You're ready to meet the people and see the sights. But there's one final thing I want to talk about, because if you don't have the right mindset, it can be the difference between having an amazing time and having nothing but frustration. The first thing you want to do when you get here is turn your patience meter to maximum and expect to take whatever plans you made and throw them out the window. Remember when I said that some of you like to schedule everything down to the last minute? Even your bathroom breaks? Well, that just doesn't work here. Back home, you have a doctor's appointment at 8:15. You're gonna get your tires rotated at 10:30, then pick up your kid from school and take him to karate practice at 3. And make sure you've eaten dinner by 8 before your friends show up for poker night. But in the Philippines, that's a week's worth of activities in a day. That kind of schedule is just impossible here. You probably researched places you want to visit and attractions you want to see. But the problem is, nothing is consistent or reliable in the Philippines, and your plans rarely work out the way you think they will. You might travel to a botanical garden you saw in a brochure, but when you arrive, an employee tells you they won't be open that day. No explanation given. And don't even think about asking why you just traveled 2 hours on a bus to get there, because they won't have a clue why it's not open either. And that restaurant you wanted to try went out of business 2 years ago, but their website is still up and says they're open every night. You try to pick another place to eat, but you find out that every other place in town closes at 8 o'clock, which was 10 minutes ago. Transportation can be pretty slow and tedious too, even when you're flying. If you have a connecting flight, it can take you a whole day just to get from one island to another, because layovers can be up to 7 or 8 hours between two little 30-minute plane rides. And by the time you get to your hotel and get settled in, you've burned the whole day just to go a few hundred miles. You might think, well, in that case, I'll just take the ferry. But the same thing can happen with that too. You might imagine yourself just hopping on a boat and zipping to the neighboring island, an island that's so close you can actually see it from the shoreline you're standing on. But the ferry schedule can be kind of fluid here, so you might end up waiting a few hours just to get aboard. By the time you reach your destination, the sun's going down. The point is, you have to leave time for the unexpected. I just talked to a guy who was planning to visit 5 cities in 2 weeks. Sounds reasonable, right? Checking out a new place every 3 days. Well, that might be reasonable in the West, but it's just not gonna happen here. You'll spend all your time at bus stations and seaports. Just keep a light itinerary and make your destinations as close to each other as possible. And whatever you do, don't expect the Philippines to be what you're used to. Just come and experience it for what it is. A relaxed, slow-paced lifestyle. Just let the current take you where it will and enjoy the ride. So to all of you guys who've been on the fence about giving the Philippines a try, just grab your passport and a little cash and head on over. If you have any questions, I'll be here to answer them. And hopefully all our veteran viewers will be eager to help you out too. Well, that's it for today's episode, and I'll return on Tuesday with something else for you to chew on. Till then, folks. Hey, Mom, I think I came up with a foolproof plan this time. Since I can't seem to land a specific guy, I decided to use the shotgun approach. I just posted a video where I invited everyone to come to the Philippines, and I advised them not to find a woman in advance, so they'll be ripe for the picking. And at the very end, I told them they could ask me for advice after they get here. You know what that means? I'll have tens of thousands of single guys calling me. I don't see how this can fail. Just a sec. Hello? Yes, Gary. I know we don't use addresses here, but you'll have to find it on your own. I don't have time to drive you to your girlfriend's house. Hello? So, just tell her you can't sleep if she keeps grabbing it. Hold on a sec. Hello? Yes, I'm free for dinner. With you and your girlfriend. Sorry, I forgot I have to wash my cats. Sorry, Mom. Looks like I blew it again. You might be waiting a long time for grandkids. If you think about it, I'm kind of like your own personal genie. Every week, I fulfill 2 of your wishes when I bring you magical content about life and culture in the Philippines and explain the differences between East and West. If you appreciate my efforts, all I ask is that you hit the thumbs up button on this video, subscribe to my channel, and tap the notification bell so you can see what I've conjured up next. And if you're really feeling like a generous master, feel free to share this video with friends and visit my Patreon page as well. And now, for that 3rd wish, you have only to ask, and it's my pleasure to make it come true.
What did you wish for? Master. I don't think I can do that. And Mrs. Master would not be happy about it.